Hello, everyone. I'm excited to welcome you today. We're going to explore the wonderful world of writing friendly letters. Our guide is called A Fun Guide to Connecting with Friends. Together, we'll learn how to write letters that are friendly and meaningful. We'll cover tips on how to start, what to include, and how to make your letters special. I'm glad you're here, so let's get started and have some fun with this. So, what exactly is a friendly letter? Well, it's a personal message that you write to someone you know well. It could be a friend, a family member, a classmate, or anyone you share a friendly relationship with. These letters are informal, which means you don't have to worry about strict rules or formal language. You can write about anything, share news, say thank you, or just say hello to check in. The idea is to keep it friendly and personal, making it a great way to stay connected with people you care about. As we go through this presentation, keep in mind that friendly letters are all about expressing yourself in a warm and genuine way. Now, let's take a closer look at the 5 essential parts of a friendly letter. Think of these parts as the 5 fingers on your hand, each one playing an important role. First, we have the heading, which includes your address and the date. This helps the reader know when and where the letter was written. Next is the salutation, which is how you greet the person you're writing to, like "Dear Mom" or "Hello, John." The third part is the body of the letter, where you share your thoughts, news, or stories. This is the heart of your message. Then comes the closing, a polite way to end your letter, such as "sincerely" or "best wishes." Finally, there's the signature, where you write your name to let the reader know who the letter is from. Remember, each of these parts is important because together they create a friendly, well-organized letter that communicates clearly and warmly. Let's take a closer look at part 1 of the slide, which is all about the heading. The heading is essentially the first thing your reader sees on a letter, and it provides 2 critical pieces of information. First, it tells them where you're writing from, which means your address. This helps establish your location and adds a level of professionalism. Second, it indicates when the letter was written, which is shown through the date. This is important because it gives context and helps the reader understand the timing of your message. You'll notice that the heading is usually placed in the top right corner of the letter. This placement is standard and makes it easy for the reader to find this key information quickly. So, in summary, the heading includes your address and the date, and its placement in the top right corner is a convention that aids clarity and professionalism. Connecting this to the overall theme, understanding how to properly format a letter, including the heading, is fundamental for effective communication. Now let's talk about part 2, the salutation, which is essentially your way of saying hello. It's the greeting you use at the beginning of your message or letter. You'll notice it's placed on the left side, just below the heading. When you start your salutation, always begin with a word like "dear." It's a friendly, respectful way to address the recipient. And remember, it's important to end your salutation with a comma. For example, you might say, "Dear Mom," or "Dear Mr. Smith," or even "Dear Best Friend," depending on who you're addressing. This part sets the tone for your message and helps establish a polite, approachable connection right from the start. So keep it simple, genuine, and suited to the relationship you have with the person you're greeting. Now, let's talk about part 3 of our letter, the body, which we often call the heart of the letter. This is really the most important part because it's where you get to express your message. When you start the body, remember to indent a little from the left margin. This helps to clearly separate it from the greeting or introduction. In the body, you can write about your day, share some exciting news, ask questions, or even thank the person you're writing to. It's your space to connect and communicate personally. The key here is to make it genuine and engaging, so the reader feels the warmth and sincerity of your message. So whether you're sharing details about your life, asking about theirs, or expressing gratitude, keep it heartfelt. That's what makes your letter meaningful. And always remember, the body is where your message truly comes alive and builds that personal connection. Now let's talk about the final part of your letter, the closing. This is a short, polite phrase used to say goodbye. It's placed on the right side of your letter just below the main body. Think of it as the polite sign-off that wraps up your message nicely. Like the salutation at the beginning, it should end with a comma. Some common examples include "your friend," "sincerely," "love," or "best wishes." These closings help leave a warm, respectful tone at the end of your letter and are an important part of good communication. Remember, choosing the right closing depends on your relationship with the recipient and the overall tone of your message. Keeping it brief but courteous helps ensure your message ends on a positive note, tying everything together. Now, let's talk about the final part of your letter, the signature. This is where you write your name directly below the closing. It's really important because it tells the reader exactly who the letter is from. Think of it as your personal stamp of authenticity. You have some flexibility here. Depending on who you're writing to, you can choose to use just your first name, which keeps it casual and friendly. Or, if you want to be more formal, you might write your full name. For example, if you're writing a letter to a friend, you might just sign Sarah. But if you're writing to a teacher or in a more formal context, you might sign Sarah Johnson. And for students or in official situations, you might even include your full name, like your student Mohammed. Remember, this signature helps the reader understand exactly who sent the letter, closing it off nicely. It's an essential part of your letter's overall professionalism and clarity. Now let's take a closer look at this interactive practice activity. We're asked to match each phrase on the left to the correct part of a letter on the right. This is a great way to reinforce understanding of the different components that make up a proper letter. For example, Dear Grandma is a salutation, which is the opening greeting. I had a great day at school is part of the body where the main message or story is shared. Your student is the closing, often used before signing your name. The date, October 25, 2025, is the heading, typically placed at the top of the letter. And finally, Sarah would be the signature, the name of the person who wrote the letter. Recognizing these parts helps us understand how to organize our writing clearly and correctly, which is essential whether we're writing formal or informal letters. This activity connects directly to our overall goal of mastering effective letter writing skills. All right, now let's move on to some interactive practice with finding mistakes. This slide is all about identifying common errors in letter writing. Here, you see a sample letter that has 3 mistakes. Your challenge is to find and fix these errors. First, look at the date on this letter. Notice that it says November 7, 2025. The correct format for dates in formal writing is to include a comma after the day. So, it should be November 7, 2025. Next, check the salutation. It says Dear Mr. Jones without a comma at the end. In formal letters, the salutation should always be followed by a comma, making it Dear Mr. Jones. Finally, look at the closing. It says your friend, but there's no name included. The proper closing should include your name, like your friend, your name. So, to recap, the 3 mistakes are missing a comma after the date, missing a comma after the salutation, and missing the sender's name in the signature. Highlighting these mistakes helps us understand key letter writing rules, like punctuation and proper formatting, so our letters come across as professional and clear. This activity connects directly to our overall theme of effective communication, emphasizing attention to detail in writing. Now it's your turn. We're going to practice writing a friendly letter. Remember, you'll use the 5 parts we've discussed to make your letter clear and friendly. First, you want to include a heading, which is the address and date. Then, a greeting or salutation with a comma. Next, the body of your letter, where you'll share your main message. After that, a closing, like saying goodbye with a comma. And finally, your signature with your name. For today's writing prompt, I want you to write a letter to a friend inviting them to your graduation party. Think about what details you want to include, like the date, time, and location of the party. And don't forget the checklist. Make sure you include the heading, salutation, body, closing, and signature. This structure helps your letter stay organized and friendly. Remember, the goal is to practice these parts so you can write clear, kind, and well-organized letters in the future. You are a friendly letter expert. Today, I want to remind you of the 5 key parts you've learned to write a friendly letter. First, there's the heading, which is where you put the date at the top. Next is the salutation, the greeting you use to start your letter, like Dear Friend. Then comes the body, where you share your message, tell your stories, or ask questions. After that, there's the closing, a polite way to end your letter, such as sincerely or your friend. Finally, you add your signature to sign your name at the bottom. Keep practicing these parts because writing friendly letters is a wonderful way to connect with others. Remember, you can write a thank you letter to show appreciation, cheer someone up when they're feeling sick, or just say hello to a good friend or family member. The more you practice, the better you'll get at sharing your thoughts and kindness through letters.